Assalamu alaikum anatomists and welcome back to YMnotes. You of course know in the hand bones we have 8 carpals, 5 metacarpals and 14 phalanges, in which each of these 27 bones has its own name. In the carpals we have a mnemonic as follows. So, long, to, pinky, here comes the thumb, in which each of the initials refers to a bone. Scaphoid, lunate, triquetral, basiform, hamate, capitate, trapezoid, and trapezium, while the metacarpals are numbered from 1 to 5 in the Latin numbers here. For example, this is the fourth metacarpal, and so also for the phalanges, from medial from the thumb to the lateral are numbered. Here the first proximal phalanx and so on, and there the fourth distal phalanx, and between each of these 27 bones we have a joint, and that's our today's topic, hand joints. YMnotes you can find in the description below. Down under the carpals we have the ulna medially and the radius laterally, and so our first joint is the radioulnar joint. The name of the joint is made from the bones. Then the radiocarpal joint, followed by the carbo-metacarpal joint, or else called the trapezio-metacarpal joint here. Then the metacarpal phalangeal joint and the interphalangeal joints. You can write the full forms if you are still confused. Basically remember phalanges P, metacarpals MC and carpals C, and the mnemonic of the carpals. So long to pinky, here comes the thumb. I told you between each two bones we have a joint, but let us focus on the two most important hand joints. The CarpiRadials joint, or also known as the wrist joint, joins the radius and the proximal carpals, those carpals that are near the radius, and its type is synovial condyloid. As you can see here, we have the radius and the proximal carpals making a joint called the radiocarpal joint, like an egg shape, because basically condyle means egg and oid means like, so condyloid joint is a joint like an egg shape. As simple as that. The ligaments which you need to remember are the collateral ligaments and the radiocarpal ligaments. As you can see, the collateral ligaments on the sides, because that's what collateral basically means. The ulnar collateral ligament on the side of the ulna, and the radial collateral ligament on the side of the radius, while the palmar radiocarpal ligaments are on the palm, meaning the inner surface of the hand, while on the back, which we can see from this front view, we have the dorsal radiocarpal ligaments. These ligaments strengthen and support the joint because the wrist joint is very mobile. The intercarpal joints join the adjacent carpals together, and their type are synovial plane, which means allow only gliding movement. And that's logical. Anyway, the ligaments are the various palmar intercarpal ligaments, which if I told you their names, you will get really puzzled. So leave them for now. This table here tells you the joint and its type and the movement in the hand bones, which you can read for more information. How about a quick Arabic summary? هذه اليد وعظامها 27، وهذا إن اعتبرنا الرزغ جزء منها. على أي حال بين كل عظمة والأخرى مفصل، لكن معنا اليوم مفصلين مهمين، الكاربيراديالس جوينت والانتركاربال جوينت. من اسمهم يمكنكم أن تعرفوا هم بين أي عظمتين، وأما الأربطة عليكم حفظها. وإن دخلنا على هذا الجدول ستروا أنه يحتوي على مفاصل مختلفة لليد مع النوع الزليلي، لأن بالأصل جميع مفاصل الطرف العلوي زليلية أي سينوفيال، والسينوفيال جوينت كما أخذنا من قبل مقسمة إلى 6 أنواع: بلين، هنج، pivot, condyloid, and also known ellipsoid, saddle, and ball and socket. وأخيرا الحركة، وكمثال مفصل الفيرست كاربو ميتاكاربال، وهو مفصل الإبهام، نوعه السادل أي شبه سرج الحصان، وحركاته كالآتي: extension وflexion، abduction وadduction، والcircumduction وopposition وريبوزيشن. هذه الحركات لا تحفظ ولكن تتخيل: المد والثني والإبعاد والاقتراب والسيركمدكشن المكونة من هذه الحركات الأربعة، والأوبوزيشن كما أخذنا في سلسلة فيديوهات الأناتوميكال ترمينولوجي. I will give you 3 questions with some time to think about them. Our first question here says, label the following joints in the little finger. We have BIB, MCB, and DIB. And these, as you can see, are the hand bones. Next question says, what is the type of the intercarpal joints? And lastly, we have one of the following joints isn't of the hand joints. And we have four choices. Try to think about them. I know you can. You have about 5 seconds to do. This is the pinky finger. It has metacarpal and three phalanges, plural. And between them, we have three spaces, which means three joints. The farthest of them is the distal interphalangeal joint. And then we have the proximal interphalangeal joints. And lastly, the metacarpophalangeal joint between the metacarpal and the phalanx. And we finished this easy question. Here, the synovial plane is the type of the intercarpal joints, allowing only gliding movement. And lastly, the glenohumeral joint isn't at all of the hand joints. Our code today says بلا قادرين على أن نسوي banana, which means yes, we are able even to proportion his fingertips. The fingertips has in fact what is called the fingerprints, as you can see right here. They are really very unique and very hard to proportion. And Wikipedia also supports this, you can read it. I know there is a lot in this page here to read, but gather your family and try to figure them out by yourself.